Hello guys, it's Onoja Simeon and welcome back again to my channel. I must of course apologize for going AWOL. you know what actually happened was after the lockdown, the so much pile of work has drowned me completely, and so I've not really had time to record videos, but just hang around. We'll get back to the way it used to be. Okay, and so today I just want to talk a bit about what is happening in India at the minute. So the news headlines coming in from India are, to say the least, scary. And I just couldn't help but ask myself this simple question, because the kind of headlines coming in from India is like 2 months ago, where a stark, contrast to what is coming now. I'll just read a few of those headlines to you. So we say, India COVID crisis, patients dying on the street. Another one reads, India's COVID crisis deepens as citizens starve and mass cremation burn the dead. India hospitals issue SOS pleas over oxygen supplies amid national emergency. The system has collapsed. India's descent into COVID hell. Someone dies every 5 minutes in one of India's worst hit cities. Now, the headlines coming in as at February. I mean, on the 9th of February, I saw a headline that says, I think it reads, no COVID-19 deaths in 15 states in the last 24 hours. Headlines like India turns the tide on coronavirus. Victory over COVID as life gradually returns to normal in India. Thanks to strict lockdown, India is back. Again, these were the kind of things that we're hearing from India as of February, barely 2 months ago. And today, this is what is happening. And I can't help but ask myself, how can something so enchanting, this February headline, suddenly become these depressing headlines that are presently coming from India? But the point of this video is not to tell you that, because it's all over the media and all the news channels. You can get those ones. Why I'm making this video is because of the similarities that I have found between Nigeria and India. And so, as the saying goes, when the toad in front jumps into the pit, others will have to take caution. And so this is like a way of calling on my people to please take caution. What are these similarities? Now, in trying to explain why what is happening in India at the minute is happening, people or experts have come up with possible reasons. One is the behavior of the people. People have let down their guards. There's this feeling that, there's victory, we've won the battle over COVID, let's go back to normal life. And that again would point at another similarity, because if you look at countries where people more or less feed from hand to mouth, it's difficult to keep them under lockdown because they have to go out to eat. That's a similarity between Nigeria and India. A good number of people must go out every day to be able to eat. And so it's difficult to have an extended lockdown. That I understand. But another flaw, which is another thing that was identified by experts, is the parts of the leaders. Leaders obviously let down their guards, and they didn't just do that by passing the wrong messages to score political points. They were having open rallies, campaign rallies, no precaution whatsoever. Even the Prime Minister, Modi, I think his name is, was holding campaigns where people don't wear masks. He doesn't wear masks, and that, is a clear reason why they are where they are today. And then the third reason, of course, is something that nobody can control, which is the fact that the virus keeps mutating, several variants coming out. And these variants have different behaviors. So it's like an ongoing struggle. And that nobody can change or nobody can do anything about. Science just has to keep, rising up to the challenge and keep, beating or defeating this virus as it's been doing. But looking at these three reasons, I now started thinking about Nigeria, and there have been reasons that people have put forth as to why the cases in Nigeria are not as serious, or we don't have that many cases as we do in the West. And one of those possible explanations, and this is where I'm going to, because these possible reasons that people have proposed, and when I say people propose, I'm talking about people who are thinking intelligently. I'm not talking about these conspiracy theorists now who go about saying things like Bill Gates is trying to plant the Antichrist under their skin, or some extremely crazy things. I'm talking about people who put some scientific thinking into scientific information into their thinking. They've come up with a number of reasons that might be responsible for the low number of cases in Nigeria and in a lot of African countries. One is they say the temperature might be responsible. So because the virus, this flu virus, that familiar virus, thrives more in very cold places. And so if you have a country like Nigeria where the average temperature is between 28 and 33, you can say that maybe that might be responsible. But if that's the case, India has an average temperature of around 26, 25, 26, or 28 annual temperature. That's what happens in India. So that's one pointer. Number two possible reason is they've said the population of Nigerians who are rural dwellers, people who live in rural places, because there's a relationship. So people in rural places have a smaller social bubble. And what that means is people in rural areas hardly use public buses. They hardly gather in stadiums with a capacity of like 30,000, 25,000 to watch matches and things like that. So people have smaller bubbles, smaller places where they meet. And so that's, to an extent, some have argued, might account for the reduction in the rate of spread of virus. But India has a 70% population of people dwelling in rural areas. Number three possible reason, some people have said countries that have had a long-standing battle with malaria, and because there have been indications of malaria treatments, especially chloroquine, having some prophylactic as preventive measures effect on the virus. I mean, many of us recall the great Donald Trump and the statement around use of chloroquine. And so some people have said this treatment of malaria over time and the maybe residue of those malaria drugs in people's system might be responsible for a higher level of immunity or some form of resistance against the virus. If that's the case, India has had a long-standing battle with malaria for a very long time, just like Nigeria. I think another possible explanation, which is something I talked about in one of my previous videos, is the fact that the virus affects older people. The effect on older people is a lot higher than younger people. I think there's this statistics that says people who are within the age of 60 to 69, less than one of such that age range would die if they get infected. I think when it gets to between 80 and 89, you're looking at about 7 people dying in 1,000. You can see that difference. Now, the life expectancy in Nigeria, I think it's 47 to 54, depending on the statistics you look at. Now, what that means is, before COVID comes, other things have killed people, and so COVID doesn't see people to kill. If that's the case, if that theory is true, then the life expectancy in India, I think, is 69. So it falls between that range of less than 1 dying in 1,000. And so that is another very strong similarity. Now, other similarities I've looked at is Indians are very religious people. I can tell between Nigerians and Indians which ones are more religious. So I wouldn't be surprised if, given the opportunity, 1 million Nigerians will gather without face masks for religious reasons, just like Indians did for their religious festival. And by the way, that festival we're talking about, the last time I read the news, I heard one of the seers, the priests, I think, have died, and about 80 of them have tested positive. I saw another news, unconfirmed, I don't know how true that is, one popular Bollywood actor who attended that festival has also died of COVID. And so, just wanted to point that, show that these are super spreader events. And so, these are the possible similarities. Another similarity is that I would like to put your attention to is that Nigeria just took over from India as the capital of poverty of the world. In case you're not aware of that, it's on news. And so these similarities are the reasons why I have made this video. So I just need to call the attention of Nigerians, not our leaders now. Our leaders are, I won't be surprised, like the Indian leaders would soon be holding rallies and campaign as politics, election is around the corner. Posts are beginning to shift. People are beginning to, say things that would make you know that election and the whole campaign has started. So I won't be surprised if they start holding those kind of rallies that would spread this virus. But what I'm doing with this video really is to call on Nigerians, the everyday Nigerians, to take caution, to advise themselves, and make sure that you don't allow yourself to fall into this pit. Why do I say so? If a country like India, where a good number of your politicians, Nigerian politicians, go for medical treatment when things get out of hand, is experiencing this level of pressure, imagine what would happen if Nigeria descends to this state. God forbid. We've been lucky so far. I jokingly said somewhere that if, God forbid, it gets to this point where the virus starts ravaging like it is doing in some countries, the best you'd get is once people test positive, they'll just advise them to go dig their grave while they can and just sit in front of it, and then so that they can fall in when it gets bad. That's how bad the situation can get. If India can be under this kind of pressure, I know India is not quite there yet, but compared to Nigeria. So, this for me is just a piece of advice for us to please continue to do those things we are doing. Those conspiracy theories, most of them have gone extinct now. We don't hear about them anymore because the facts have obviously outweighed the emotions and sense. And I've heard a couple of Nigerian politicians making some very careless statements, and my simple advice to them is, look people who have lost loved ones in the eyes, look at them in the eyes and tell them that COVID is fake, or COVID is Bill Gates trying to inject them with Antichrist. So that's just my little piece of advice or lesson that I intend to pull from the situation in India. Our prayer is with India and everybody in India. We hope and we pray that things would change soon and people would get well and recover and life will return to normal. I understand how difficult this situation is because in a place like the UK, before lockdown came into effect, there were things like the furlough scheme and all of that, where people were able to stay at home and still meet their basic needs, eat and all of that. In most of these countries, like in Nigeria and some other countries, that is not possible. The government cannot give anybody anything. And I'm not saying they will not, I'm saying they cannot. And so, hopefully things will get well and good soon and life will return to normal. But for now, we need to keep watch and stay alert and save ourselves. Let he who think he stands take heed lest he fall. See you again very soon.